Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector, Idaho's daily news. Good morning, I'm James Dawson. It's Monday, April 21st, and here are today's headlines. After Victor Perez, a nonverbal 17-year-old boy with autism, was fatally shot by Pocatello police, national advocates are calling for reform in police training. Jackson Holmes has details.
In body cam footage released Thursday, it showed there was no de-escalation practices when officers approached Perez. The National Institute of Health reports people with autism encounter law enforcement at disproportionate rates, and it's becoming more common. Now, advocates across the United States are calling for improvements to police training. Kate Movius founded the training organization Autism Interaction Solutions. Every month, she conducts trainings for the Los Angeles Police Department on how to interact with people with autism.
We don't get as much representation from the more profound part of the spectrum. In other words, those who are nonverbal, those who are dependent on 24/7 care, those who are at grave risk of wandering or going missing.
The ARC, a national disability advocacy group, also responded to Perez's death in a statement released on April 14th. In the statement, they advocate for national standards in police training. The Idaho Peace Officer Standards and Training Curriculum says when responding to someone with developmental disabilities, responders should, among other things, use a calm, normal tone of voice, use simple, short direction, and note that the lack of eye contact or verbal skills does not mean noncompliance. Jackson Holmes, Boise State Public Radio News.
The Wyoming Supreme Court heard arguments last week about whether the state's 2 near-total abortion bans are constitutional. The state is appealing a district court ruling that the laws violate a woman's right to make her own healthcare decisions. Wyoming argues abortion isn't healthcare and that lawmakers are allowed to protect the rights of, quote, unborn babies. Cheyenne resident Kathleen Skarapinski attended the oral arguments and agrees.
The personhood, the human being is created at the time of conception, and that's been around forever.
But abortion advocates say fetuses should not have the same rights as a living person. Justices have until mid-August to issue a written opinion. Legal battles have also been happening in Idaho and Utah. Travelers along Highway 55 this week will get their first taste of a new traffic signal installed at the intersection with Banks-Lohman Road. The Idaho Transportation Department announced Friday that crews were finalizing the signal's installation to improve safety and efficiency. During the busy summer months, traffic can significantly back up as those traveling southbound on Highway 55 try to turn left onto Banks-Lohman Road. ITD said in a statement it is also working to widen the roadway in the area to better head off bottlenecks. That project is currently in the planning and design phase. McCall officials say they have to update their boundaries, specifically the lines that define their so-called area of impact, which lie just beyond their official city limits. George Prentice reports.
In 2024, the Idaho legislature adopted sweeping changes to area of impact requirements, mainly shifting the final decision to counties and away from the cities that are actually impacted. The city of McCall recently launched a comprehensive analysis of housing developments beyond the city limits that draw from its police force, public works, parks, and more. McCall Development Director Michelle Grunewald says projections in and just outside the city reveal a 30% growth in population over the next 10 years, and that will require a lot more housing.
Housing units, new annual housing construction by housing type. But it does highlight, this continued growth within the city.
GIS specialist Ben Osterling helped map out the newly proposed area of impact map.
Areas that are very likely to be annexed into the city within the next 5 years. It doesn't mean they have to be. It doesn't mean they will be. But on the basis of the data, areas that are very likely to be annexed to the city within the next 5 years.
McCall officials will present the proposed AOI map to Valley County commissioners on May 5th, and again, those commissioners will have the final say. George Prentice, Boise State Public Radio News.
The father and son running a taxidermy shop in Filer are facing felony charges related to an alleged poaching ring. Idaho News 6 reports Tom and his son Ryan Schiermeyer allegedly falsified and or destroyed evidence related to the poaching investigation by taking orders for 43 trophies without proper documentation. According to the news outlet, those 43 work orders were linked to hunters implicated in the poaching scheme dating back to 2023. Police say the men didn't initially hand over all records related to those hunters, but they were later discovered at the bottom of a filing cabinet after executing a search warrant. Preliminary hearings for the Schiermeyers are set for May 9th. A jury trial for Carl Studer, the man at the center of the alleged poaching ring, is scheduled for August. Wildfires are increasingly destroying neighborhoods and even whole communities. The Mountain West News Bureau's Murphy Woodhouse has more on a large new study on the needs of those affected, including mental health support.
In the wake of a series of devastating 2017 California wildfires, researchers surveyed nearly 1,500 households about what their needs were in the immediate aftermath and in the following months. Some of the most commonly reported needs were clean water, food, clothing, shelter, and prescription medications. But many also reported needing real-time updates about the disaster and better information about insurance claims and health impacts from smoke. Study co-author Catherine Conlon, an environmental epidemiology professor at the University of California, Davis, noted that mental health support was commonly identified as both an immediate and longer-term need.
We're finding in this paper that mental health needs are persistent.
She says it's the largest such study to date. And while all of the respondents were Californians, Conlon says the findings are relevant for wildfire-threatened communities across the West. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Murphy Woodhouse.
And that's today's episode of The Connector. I'm James Dawson, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. To stay in touch with the news between now and then, check out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. Thanks for listening.